Hi YouTube, it's Ashley again. I know I'm videoing like a lot, and mainly just simply because it helps me. Like I said in one of my previous videos before, it's definitely an outlet. Deployments can bring so many different moods. Some days are better than others. But it definitely takes my mind off things for a little while. And especially since I'm kind of able to use this as a vlog, it's nice to get my feelings out there and just be able to talk about, all sorts of different things. Yesterday, after I had videoed about my tutorials and stuff, I got a call from my husband, and it was the first time I'd heard from him in a couple of days. He's doing really well, missing me, and the days are kind of dragging for us both, but he's doing well. The bad thing is, you just don't know when you're going to hear from one another, so you try to make the very most of the calls that you do get, because you just don't know when you're going to hear their voice again and when you're going to get to talk to them. And it makes it hard because there's always stuff that you want to tell them, and then once you get on the phone, you're so excited that you're like, am I forgetting anything? But it definitely made my mood a lot better hearing from him, and put me on cloud nine for the rest of the day. And I had a really good day yesterday, and then today I woke up. I didn't sleep so well last night, and I was really restless, and so I'm just not feeling all that great today. But not every day is going to be good. So, but it's another day down. Another day closer to him coming home. So that's the way you have to look at it. This tutorial or video is gonna be about one of my favorite things, and that would be Twilight. Yes, I am one of those people. I am definitely a Twilight fanatic. I never thought I would be. I I knew of Twilight because everybody pretty much on the planet knows about Twilight, but I was like, I'm one of these types of people. I like to read stuff that's actually happened. Like, I read very little fiction. It, I usually read biographies and stuff, that's actually true. So, and a lot of crime novels and stuff like that. But I have a hard time getting into fiction. So I was like, what is with this vampire stuff? This is not what I like to do. This is not, I'm just not into it. So I'm not going to read it. Well, so I didn't actually get any of the books or anything. I had seen the movie because my friend Jessica had bought it, and I had saw it like back last August. But I really, like, we were talking, and I really just wasn't paying attention because I really just didn't care. And we were just laughing throughout the whole movie, so I really didn't watch it really close. And then in December, like, all of my friends love Twilight. Okay, like all of them except Jessica. And I was like, well, maybe I'll see what all the fuss is about. So I went to Target, and I was able to find Twilight and New Moon for $5 each in the small books. And I was like, well, that's not a bad deal. I'll I'll pay that, because at that point I didn't even know if I was going to like them, if I was even going to want to continue to read them. So I bought them, and I read Twilight in like 3 days, and I was completely hooked. My husband was on duty, or he was out in the field or something, so he wasn't home, and I finished it in no time. I had it read in no time, and when I finished it, I was completely hooked. So I started like right then, and started on New Moon, and I read it. Now I liked New Moon. Now the one thing, if you have not read these books and you plan to read these books, or you don't want to know anything about the story, go ahead and stop watching this video right now, okay? Because there's going to be some spoilers in here. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail from each book, things that I like, things, that I didn't particularly like, um, kind of my review on, and which is my favorite, and yada yada. So if you plan on reading these and you haven't, or if you haven't finished them, stop reading or stop watching this video, because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, because it's such an amazing story. So now the thing I like about, I I think one of the reasons why people are so crazy about Twilight is because it is such a fantasy. You know, it's this love story that could never in a million years happen. But I think everybody kind of relates with Bella. You know, she's kind of lost, and you know, she's kind of just a different kind of person. And you know, she falls head over heels in love with Edward, but then she's got this amazing best friend too, you know, who in all actuality is the better choice for her, you know, and but we normally don't choose the things that are best for us, you know. Most girls tend to go after the bad boy. So, you know, she loves them both, you know, and I mean, who wouldn't? But I think that's probably one of the biggest draws is just the romance and the emotional strong connection between her and Edward, and you know, then the whole best friend factor. Now, New Moon, I really like New Moon. The only part I didn't like about it is that, and again, here comes the spoilers. The only thing I didn't like about it was that the Cullens are gone for so much of the movie and the book. Um, and it's necessary because it builds that relationship between Jacob and Bella, and I understand why. But I'm such a huge Cullen fan, and I mean I like the Wolfpack too, but I'm definitely a vampire, you know, girl. I like the vampires and the books, and they're gone for so much of the book, and you know, it's like that was hard for me. When I started reading it, and I was like, okay, they're gone, you know, whatever, and I'm like, I'm really not gonna like this because there are no vampires for like a long stretch of the book, but it makes you understand her connection with Jacob better because the vampires aren't around for a long time, and I like that, you know, the whole wolf thing comes to play in New Moon. Now, Eclipse, I'm not gonna lie, Breaking Dawn out of all of these books is my favorite. Okay, like a lot of people, just because there's so much going on and it's such a good book. But I have to say that if I had to pick a second favorite, it would be Eclipse. Okay, before I read Breaking Dawn, Eclipse was my favorite. Um, it it really just Edward and Jacob have to pull out all the stops, okay, to really win Bella, because this is the book where she has the most realization that she really is in love with both of them, okay, and her heart is torn in two because she wants to be with Edward. He is her soulmate, but she doesn't want to hurt Jacob, and I mean he's fighting for her. Like he wants her to realize that he's the better choice, you know. And there is this really awesome scene which I really hope that they put in the movie, when, here we go with the spoilers again. um there's this really awesome part of the movie where he Jacob, Edward, and Bella are all in a tent, and Bella is like, they're running from the army of vampires and stuff, and Bella is freezing, okay, and Edward is trying to stay as far away from her in this tent as humanly possible because, I mean, as we all know, he's cold himself. Well, Jacob's outside the tent, you know, watching guard, you know, for these army of vampires, and Edward has to call him in to warm Bella up. And him and Jacob are like fighting, and Bella's like trying to sleep, and he's like, Jacob's rubbing it in Edward's face, you know, that he can warm Bella up, and you know, Edward can't, and it's a really awesome scene. So I really hope that they put it in the movie. That's one of my favorite scenes from this book. And of course, Jacob and Bella finally kiss in this book, and it seems really passionate, and I can't wait to see how it's depicted on screen because it's going to be really hot. Okay, now this is where the ultimate spoilers are going to come in. Breaking Dawn. This is a phenomenal book. Okay, it's huge. It's like 800 pages, 700, 800 and something pages, but it is so good. The way it's written, with their wedding and with their honeymoon, and just, you know, them finally being physical together, how everything just comes out, and then with her getting pregnant, and then it all kinds of all kind of comes full circle on why Rose